have to be able to just sort of let yourself go to the process and bank on your team to help you achieve that vision. So collaboration is pretty much the soul of what we do. I think what I do is reinterpret how the world views Pakistan through the lens of design and fashion. We were, I think, the first ones to do it within the design and fashion landscape in Pakistan. There's two parts to this story. The first part is obviously me taking a trip to LA and visiting a streetwear boutique in LA with a bunch of high-end, clothing items, and seeing that some of those clothes were made in Bangladesh and in Pakistan, but realizing that, hey, the brand is an international brand and the recognition goes to the brand, but South Asia is just part of the supply chain and not part of the brand side of things. And then the second part of my story is a study abroad program that I did in Italy, where I just sort of fell in love with the arts, with interior design, architecture, and that was just sort of amalgamated and married with my love for textiles, because I come from a family of furniture designers and textile designers, and it just got me thinking that, hey, some of the best products are made in South Asia, but the brands are always these international American or European brands. So I thought, why aren't we the ones to tell our own stories? And that's where the idea of Rastah just started to marinate within itself. I think the biggest turning point was probably the first ever collection that we did, which was literally just simple hoodies with patches on the back. And we didn't think that those pieces would resonate with an audience that didn't even exist. Initially, we didn't have any audience, but the product was so unique that it just started to resonate with everybody. And then the next turning point was when French Montana wore Rastah. I think this was back in 2019, 2020. That was just crazy because there was no Pakistani brand doing the things that we were doing, but then having an international celebrity wear those clothes. So that was like a big just sort of stamp of approval for us to keep going. And then after that, we just kept on a roll. We got the Vogue article, we got Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber was another big turning point. We were pretty much in the red when it came to our checking account. Credit cards were maxed out, and we didn't think that this drop would do well. And Justin Bieber wore Rastah and it was all over the news, and that drop just absolutely killed it. I think that drop sold out in like 30 minutes. I don't think there's any typical day for me. Most days I don't even know when it starts, when it ends. My mornings are typically me just getting up and trying to extinguish as many fires as I possibly can, because there's always a new problem to sort of solve. And I typically take the first 2 hours of the morning to just figure out what I'm going to do today. And my main goal each morning is to find 2 to 3 key tasks or key actions that I feel like will move the needle for the business. And then it's going into the office. First thing foremost is figuring out where the business is at from just a sales perspective and a merchandising perspective, and then making sure that the marketing team and the product team is fully aligned. My favorite part of the job is probably developing new products and thinking of ideas that we feel like we can't execute on, and then working like 6, 7, 8 months in advance to have that done. It's a very inspiring process because you don't know how something is going to end up, but you have an idea and a vision for it, and then you just need to bet on yourself. And it's kind of like, you're kind of like giving birth to this creation that you've just sort of conceived as an idea, and then there's 20, 30 people collectively working to bring it to life. My philosophy has always been to create from the heart and always have a pulse on your instincts, but also an ear to the ground. So it's a two-way process of banking on yourself and knowing, hey, this is what I want to create because I'm feeling X, Y, Z, and this is what I want to put out. But then trying to channel that with what people want. Within any creative endeavor, the only way to be successful is if you can put together a good team. And I feel like if you can empower the right people to do the right things and set a vision, my job is literally just to craft the vision and then put the right people in the room together to help me achieve that vision, because it's not a one-man show. So whatever my vision is, it needs to be a point of view, and then there needs to be a process of trust. That point of view is then passed on to the team, and there's a level of trust within them to then take that vision and then execute that according to what they think is their point of view. So it really needs to be a relationship of trust and collaboration. What really drives me is, can I wake up every single day and look in the mirror and say, I did whatever I possibly could, given the resources I had, to create and manifest something truly magical. A decade from now, can I look back and say, hey, we did something very special? The dream is to have Rastah stores all over the world and to create not just stores, but create an experiential world of different elements that bring the vision of my personal lived experiences to life, and whatever I feel like is good taste within this world. One way of really describing that dream would be an experiential Rastah store with a coffee shop and a members club and a boutique hotel and a spa all in one. A place where everybody can just sort of come together and share ideas collaboratively. There's no Rastah, there's no work without collaboration and community. If we don't have that, then we don't have this brand. Anything and everything that happens creatively, any creative field, design, music, film, there's so many moving parts to it where there needs to be a sheer sense of trust and humility in the process. You have to be able to just sort of let yourself go to the process and bank on your team to help you achieve that vision. So collaboration is pretty much the soul of what we do. Being a brand from Pakistan, it's incredibly hard to break through. I think the biggest challenge is that we managed to do what we have done so far despite the existence of a fashion establishment and status quo that largely favors European and American designers, where the fashion world has turned to South Asia for decades and has taken inspiration from our designs, produced here, manufactured here, but never given us credit. We've never been the owners of our own story. So that was the biggest challenge, breaking through that. And then the other thing is that we don't operate within that status quo, which is fashion weeks, wholesale, and that's the business model. Our business model has been to literally just storytell and share our vision and our products directly with consumers and create a very high-end product, which is very hard to do. People don't understand this because typically to do that, you have to be part of that fashion establishment. And that fashion establishment now is sort of crumbling and breaking before our eyes. But when we did it, that was the way of doing it. But we completely flipped the switch. And nobody really expected a brand to come out of South Asia and have people like French Montana, Justin Bieber wear the clothes, or Zayn Malik, or Lil Baby, or be in Vogue, Forbes. Like, that shouldn't have happened, and nobody thought that would happen. And those were challenges that we faced externally. Internally, when the brand was starting, there was skepticism within Pakistan. You know, people were like, why is this brand reinterpreting our artisanship like XYZ? Why is this brand so expensive? And we had this sort of guile and tenacity to keep doing what we knew was important. And the same people that thought that we couldn't do it are now the ones that want to wear our products. I think there's a level of stoicism and humility that has just been ingrained in me through the process of running this brand, because what I've realized is the root of failure and just tarnishing any sort of success that you might have built for yourself is arrogance and hubris. And what running a business teaches you, and especially a creative business, is that you need to let go of whatever ego you might have. And it's very important to know that you're gonna have good days and you're gonna have bad days. Before getting to this point, the initial days, every success, I would just sort of thump my chest and feel like, oh, you know, I've made it. But then again, every failure would feel like, oh, like, this is a personal failure and I'm not good enough. So what I've really learned is an immense feeling of gratitude and just a feeling of stoicism, where I now try to treat every good thing and bad thing the same way, where it's just part of the process. Take creative risks, bank on yourself, and don't do what others are doing. Try and share your own personal story. I think a lot of young designers and creatives try and work backwards, where they say X person is successful because of ABC, I have to do the same things to become successful, when the process is inherently different. And it's more of a journey of exploration and having faith in yourself, which requires you to take immense risk and tell your personal story. And that's where a lot of people sort of just fail. And there's just not a lot of patience. People forget that things aren't going to happen in months or even years. And I think the younger generation needs to start thinking in decades, and really just figuring out first, what is it that I want to say? Why is it what I have to say important? And why am I the right person to say it?